How long have you been living in Iowa?
How long have I been living in Iowa?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Iowa. I just moved back to Iowa 3 years ago from Belize, from West Indies. From Central America. And so I've been back in Iowa City now for 3 years, but I grew up in Waterloo and went to college here and performed in the state and so forth.
While you were in Belize, what were you doing?
Music and civil organization, music.
With your reggae music?
Reggae music, yeah. We were basically the band and musicians I played with back in the 60s were groundbreakers because a lot of black bands weren't playing in the places we played at, and we didn't get any recognition too much. Number one, because we're in Iowa. We opened a lot of doors up for a lot of people. We had a totally integrated band, so we were doing a lot of things that hadn't been done yet in the state.
How did it feel in the civil rights movement, like not getting notified and not getting recognized for all the things you were doing?
Well, you'd never expect it to. We were just trying to make a living and have fun.
Oh.
At a certain point, we began to understand the social, political aspects of what we were doing, because in some cases we go to some towns and we get met by policemen, or after the show we get escorted out of town by policemen, and so you start realizing that somebody's paying attention to you playing in these towns, and there's a reason why they are. Unbeknownst to us at the time, it was a highly politically charged situation in some of these places to have us come and play, because we're basically playing for all white audiences, and then our fans from like Cedar Rapids and Des Moines and Waterloo and Davenport were coming and following us. So all of a sudden you were getting integrated crowds at these places that normally didn't have more than one black person in the county.
Yeah.
So it began to break through, and it was during the civil rights movement, and the Vietnam War. So it was a pretty charged time period, for social reform and social development in the state as well as in the nation and the world.
During this time, were you involved in any other organizations or activities other than?
Yeah, I was. I was involved with the Black Panther Party. I was involved with somewhat with the NAACP and different other civic organizations. I call them civic organizations. Other people call them other things. But we were all in focusing on making the black communities more secure, more educated, and more self-reliant on education and inner strength within our communities. We're trying to organize people to realize the power that we had in numbers versus the power we had from an economic state. We didn't have too much power, but we had a lot of people who all shared the same issues, the same social political issues. So it was very important to be involved with these organizations, because other than the churches at the time, it was the only thing that gave black people hope in the state of Iowa. With somebody with the nerve to stand up and say, this is not right to treat human beings this way, and we are American citizens and we demand our rights. So